Interested in youth at risk for many years and has been a prison visitor running programs for young people at the Turarongo, I hope I got that one right, prison on Rarotonga. The incarceration rate in the Cook Islands Maori community is very low, and Thomas will be speaking about the importance of family, community and culture in protecting young people. Thank you, Thomas.
I think we'll give her an 8 out of 10 for pronunciation. It wasn't too bad, actually. Let me just organise myself. I sort of wondered why Meg invited me to this conference, and I sat there yesterday and I then realised why I'm here. And I do want to acknowledge the traditional leaders, past and present, and those emerging. I think that's hugely important. And I say that not because people say that, I say that because we do the same. I wanted to acknowledge also the strengths in this room. I wanted to acknowledge the people that have overcome great odds and still sit here and still do what they do. And I cannot unhear or unsee or unfeel yesterday. As someone that has come into this relatively new, I had an understanding of what things were like, but I have to say that after yesterday, it just invokes an emotional response from very deep within inside you, and it's just that sense of injustice, that sense that something is very wrong. And I can't believe that it's happened here in Australia. I visited this country 30 times. Played rugby here, played rugby league here, got drunk on the Gold Coast. My father lives in Adelaide. He's an Irishman. My mother's a Cook Islander, so I'm a Cook Irelander. I've got a Kiwi passport, which I relish. I've also got an Irish one. When I travelled to Ireland to meet my family, the guy at the border was like, right, Irish. And we come from lots of different places. We all have a journey that's very different. But I really wanted today to speak truth to power today. That's really what I wanted to do today. And I wanted to acknowledge some things today that I'm going to take with me. I'm not too sure how I'm going to respond when I go home and they ask me how was it, because I don't think I can sum it up in a conversation over coffee. It's an absolute travesty. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm from the Cook Islands, and that's it there. I travelled about 12 hours to get here. There's 13 islands. They're all sort of states all with their own. Rarotonga is the capital where I live. There's about 10,000 people that live in Raro. There's about 14,000 people that live there. We have our own judges, we have our own prison guards, we have our own prison. We have 35 people in prison. We've got 0.25% of the population in prison. The boys play rugby league in the weekends. They go home for Christmas. They're out working during the day. As they're being paroled, they're allowed to go back to their job and wherever they live for Monday to Friday, but they've got to promise to come back on the weekend. That's our reality with prison. We're just about to start waka prisons or village courts, where we move out of the court system and we take it back to the village and we do it there. No courtroom, no gowns, none of that stuff, especially when it comes to our juveniles. And like I said, I just can't believe what's happened here in Australia. This is about 10 minutes from my home. That's my marae. This is the place where we all meet. This is where our chief is invested. And behind that in the clouds, that's the mountain that belongs to our family. And I was there maybe 6 months ago when a new chief was invested for us. So our culture is rich, it's alive, it's thriving. We speak our own language, we have our own customs, the language is taught in school, and we have preferential legislation for Cook Islanders in any job. If a job is going in the public service and a non-Cook Islander applies and gets the job, the Public Service Commissioner has to receive a letter to say why. We have positive affirmation in our country because we know that the forces that have worked against you are working against us as well, because it's actively working against us. Speaking truth to power is so powerful. And I just wanted to make some statements today, really. Things that have really impacted me and woke me up at 2 o'clock this morning, because in the Cook Islands it's 6 o'clock, and I haven't quite adjusted. And at 8 o'clock last night I was really tired because it's actually 12. That's the prison incarceration for our people in New Zealand. So we make up about 15% of the New Zealand population are Māori, 7% are Pacific, but we make up 65% of the prison population. So the same mechanism that's working against Indigenous people here is working against Indigenous people in New Zealand. It's working against Indigenous people in Canada. Wherever there are Indigenous people, we see the same statistics. So this tells me we have a shared experience. There are similar things at play, creating a similar result. So Cook arrived here, or came through, did a drive-by in 1770, and he said, no one here. That was his estimation of Australia, that's my understanding. And do you know, as an Aboriginal people, my understanding from what I heard yesterday, you are still invisible. You actually don't exist, not in their minds. And we've had, from what I can see, there's been a whole system that's been put in place to ensure that you remain invisible. Cook set the template, and the state and the Crown have continued the work. I've been to Australia 30 times. I had to count it last night. And I can tell you, from someone that visits Australia frequently, this is the first time I've ever been in a room with 2 Aboriginal people. Because everywhere I go, I can't see you. I've been to Sydney that many times, like I said, all the other places. I've never come across Aboriginal people because you're invisible to them. And I want to make some statements that may seem controversial, but I'm leaving, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I think I'll beat you in a fight.
That's right.
Maybe not my mate Tupuna, he's from the Cook Islands, but... I think if Aboriginal people disappeared tomorrow, no one would care. In fact, in the mind of Australia, you don't matter anyway. The statistics, I don't know what to say. I just sat there aghast that 100% of youth in Northern Territory are Indigenous people. You know, it's pictures like these that have characterised, well, Indigenous people's journey everywhere, really. You know, in one way or another, we've been shackled and manacled, whether it be a physical shackle or an emotional one, or a structural one, or a systemic one. We have been shackled and we've been wounded by that. But here's one thing I understand for us as Indigenous people. We cannot afford to stay in the wound, because it fixes us in a time and a place, and we can't move from there. We have to move from the wound into healing. And I've heard it talked about yesterday a lot. And whenever I hear people talk about healing, of course, you're sitting there saying, how? How do I move from there to there? Because all I feel is the hurt. All I feel is the wound. And for us as Indigenous people, I think the strength that we have is we learn to walk with the wound anyway. This room is full of it. This room is full of stories that have been of people that have been wounded by colonialism and systemic oppression, but you walk anyway. You said, I'm going to keep going. And I just wanted to honour you today. Because I am absolutely humbled to the core of who I am as a man. That I'm sitting in a room with people that have had to suffer this, and you keep going. That's a bloody travesty. Bloody's an Australian word, by the way. We don't use it at home. I get a smack if I said that in a speech. Justine said this yesterday. Was it Justine? Yeah. I'm going to take that home with me because it's so true. The master's tools cannot destroy the master's house. So here's the truth to power. Don't look to the state and don't look to the crown for help, because they're the ones that put you there. And they want to keep you there. And you will forever tell the story of not having enough money, not having enough resources, and not having enough people to fix the problem. But the problem is, you've been looking at the wrong place for the answer. The answer has always been you. Always. Self-determination is not just a word. It's something that I experience every single day. And I live in a country where we self-determine our future. I'd love you to come. That's an open invitation. Because I think it's something you need to experience. Because you've been surrounded by so much wounding and hurt, it's hard to see outside of that. And here I am, coming from a place of strength. And look at my brothers and sisters. I can't believe what's taken place. But we have to move from there. Do you hear what I'm saying? See, they still think you're invisible. They put you in a chair and they've restrained you and they put a hood over your head and they've said you are invisible, you do not exist. They incarcerate you because they want this myth to continue that Cook perpetuated, that you are invisible and you do not exist. Because if we put you in prison, then no one will see you. It's pervasive, it just continues. I love this saying, my existence is my resistance. By virtue of the fact that you are still here, your existence is the fact that you resist. You have said, I will not be quiet. You have said, I am not invisible. You have said, I have a voice, and I'm going to use my voice. And you know what? It irritates the system because they've done everything they can to ensure that you're invisible. Self-determination, my friends, brothers, sisters, it's not just a word. It's something that you have to do yourself. It's something that you need to do for you because no one else is going to do it for you. And that's the truth that may be difficult to accept, but until you accept it, nothing is going to change. The state is working against you. That's truth to power. The Crown is actively working against you. That's truth to power. The only one that can determine the future for Aboriginal people is Aboriginal people. You are not a science experiment. I just wanted to say that because I really felt yesterday, listening to a lot of the talk, I could go away feeling like the Aboriginal people have been researched, data analysed, dissected, cut up into pieces. Your brains have been analysed, weighed, where are we? What is this Darwinian sort of approach to Aboriginal experience? You can't allow them to dictate the narrative. You can't. But it's not going to change until it changes for you. Yesterday, it was interesting. I thought to myself about 10 minutes into the program, maybe 20 minutes into the program, I don't know if you noticed, but the key to change left the room. Did anybody notice that? About 20 minutes into yesterday, the key to change for Aboriginal people in my mind left the room. They came in, and then they left again. Do you know what I'm talking about? That culture group that came in the beginning, there it is. It's right in front of you, like it's always been right there. Your language, your culture, the way you see the world, the way you understand the world, the way you understand your place in it, the way you understand your history. All of those things are tied up in what I saw in the beginning. In fact, we could have just shut down the conference and sat with them, and I think we would arrive at the answer quicker than we have done dissecting Aboriginal people like a research experiment. And I'm from outside of here, so I can only share from you what I see. And I hope that if it's true for you, that it resonates for you too. Because I can tell you something else I'm sick to death of, is talking. And I'm sure there are numbers of you here and you are well versed in conferences. You know how they work, you know what to expect, you can almost guess the people that are going to be there. It's always the same sort of people, the same ones, and nothing changes. So if it's not changing anything, why do we keep doing it and expect to change? Because the answer has always been here. If you want change, then it starts here. And it's not the Michael Jackson song, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. But there is a truth in there. And I know because I experience it every day. Because I lived in New Zealand for 42 years, and I experienced the opposite. And I moved home, and for the last 9 years, I've experienced self-determination. I now know what it looks like. I now know what it feels like. I now wish that I had the answers I've got now, with all the social work and everything else I did working in schools prior to that. Because here's another one, another truth to power. The social work, social services industry is doomed to fail. Because there's never enough money, never enough people. You know how the story ends, right? So let's be clear. It's set up so that it doesn't work. We are working in a system that is set up to fail. And for the 1, 2, or 3 people that, trajectory out of that, that's fantastic. But what about the other, 93% that don't? How are we doing for time? I got 5 minutes. Okay, can I play that movie? Yep. I was going to say any questions?
We'll do the question.
I just wanted to play you a quick movie. To entice you to come and see me. Meg's been there. forward to going. Can I finish? Just, you know, it's as Indigenous people, we think intergenerational, and there is no time to waste. Because the generation that's coming after us is depending on us to make the right decisions. So then we cannot tarry, we cannot wait, we cannot sit around, we cannot afford to sit in the hurt. We need to move because the generation after us is desperately waiting for tools from us to equip them to function in both worlds. Thank you very much.